wrestling kids and the millions listening live around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for the round the table.
Your favorite podcast, Round Table Wrestling. I am one of your hosts, Brent the Nightmare Ward. And of course, with me today, Pablo Kino Okano and the one and only Wild Man, Keith Miller. What are you guys for professional wrestling, huh?
Skibbity wrestling.
Yeah, there was news coming out right up until last night at the very least.
Oh, and it's
Big
still,
news, yeah.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of news just popping up out of nowhere. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to it. I'd say,
Yeah, let's roll it out, man.
well, some breaking news that happened last night was Lance Anoa'i has been signed to the WWE, and
Hey,
that
now.
per Sports Illustrated is where that was leaked from.
interesting.
Yeah,
Lance,
guys,
I had brought this to your attention, but Lance Anoa'i, who used to be in MLW tag champions with Jacob Fatu. Funny thing is because I almost forgot about him in the equation because we heard so much about, Hikuleo coming in.
Right.
And apparently being Longa Tonga or something that they're going to call him. And then Zilla doing a lot, and then speculation of him. But it's funny that we didn't ever, workshop apparently Lance possibly being in the WWE, which seems official now. It was official source that said it. Lance Anoa'i, another part of the bloodline. So
Yeah.
will it ever end? Does it ever have to?
Yeah,
Right?
I was gonna make a joke and say, I wonder what he's gonna be doing, but now it doesn't seem like it'd be as funny.
Well, he's definitely going to be when Jacob Fatu finally, when The Rock comes back and takes the Ulufala off of Solo, and instead of putting it on Roman or himself, puts it on Jacob. Jacob's gonna bring in Hikuleo, and he's gonna bring in his right-hand man Lance. And
interesting. That's an
You heard it
interesting
first. You heard
idea.
it first.
Yeah.
well, remember, because
Right
The
on,
Rock, I'm telling you, you hear it first. The Rock is going to look at Jacob. He's like, I crowned the wrong guy, and it's going to be a little bit of a swerve, and because every promotion needs a little bit of swerve.
Yeah, you would hope. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I honestly think it's a really good addition.
Sure.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
More Bloodline.
Woohoo! Bloodline forever.
Bloodline forever. You don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Let's see here.
Good
okay.
room references.
Yeah.
There's some interesting news that happened this week. WWE released Tegan Knox, Indy Hartwell, and Baron Corbin. Kind of a shocker for at least Indy and Baron, to say least.
Well,
Man, maybe.
I was gonna say I'll take the. It was more strange because I went to the Mall of America and I spoke to shout out the cafe I like to go to over there. There's some wrestling fans over there, and I was mentioning to them. I was like, didn't Friday, Indy and Candace had a match.
Yeah.
But it aired like 3 days after she was fired.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, ain't this weird?
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff right here. But it's I wish them both the best. I imagine Baron Corbin is going to have a feud with Darren Corbin, and then they're going to, bring in Aaron Corbin and everybody else, and they're going to make the Corbin Five and become a boy band
with Billy Corgan as their manager.
He's going to change his G to a B.
Yeah.
To because he loves assimilation. I was gonna say also Tegan is already, she's already booked for shows. Like she's going to be, I think her name is Nixon. Something.
Yeah, Nixon Newell. That's her. Her previous name. So yeah, she went back to it.
So she's going back to it. So she's off to the ground running.
Yeah, because she reportedly doesn't have a 90-day clause. So that's interesting.
Why is that?
Yeah.
I was reading about it. It really didn't say why. It just said that she didn't have a 90-day compete clause. So,
the thing that's funny is when she first got released, she made a post that said, "See you in 90 days."
Yeah.
So I feel like she must have done some negotiating. Like at the very least, she thought she had a 90-day clause.
Right. Well, maybe this is the case, right? They didn't use her on TVs for a long time, so maybe she's like, "Oh, that was my 90-day clause. You didn't use me at all.
Screw it! I'm gonna freaking start wrestling."
Well, see, I think that there should be some kind of clause like that if they get released. Like, hey, you haven't been on TV for 6 months, and we're going to release you.
Or maybe you
should be free to move around.
I was gonna say maybe the punishment, or maybe the 90 clause was to team with Natalia. I'm not gonna lie, it's a oof.
Yeah,
I wish them the best though.
Yes, definitely wish them all the best.
Like I personally, I am a big Tegan Knox fan. I think that they dropped the ball on her. So like she's a veteran. First of all, she's been wrestling for a while. She's got great charisma, great presence, great in the ring. And I don't get it. The Indy Hartwell thing is weird because she was on TV a lot, and they had recently put her in like some of the internet stuff. And it's very strange. Like,
and they reignited the Candice Indy thing where it was the long-term booking, where Indy was like, "Okay, I get what you're saying now. Like, maybe it's time we start to be a little mean." And it was actually coming together, and they are they were actually a good tag team.
Yeah.
Their dynamic was good, and I feel like it was weird. Of all of them, I'm still surprised of Baron Corbin, but he seemed more like a Vince guy. Indy's probably the one that's more shocking, also because I don't know if she goes into the Indies, and she's, ironically, her name is Indy, but I don't know if she's going to be running the Indies. Maybe she'll be in go back to where she's from. And start working over there.
Back to Australia or whatever,
Yeah, maybe.
I think next. Yeah, my thing about Baron Corbin is like he's 40, so there's that, and he never really. They say so. I think that the WWE does this weird thing where, like, if they don't believe in you, they constantly try new things with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
commentating and all of that.
Right. Well, I mean, like new gimmicks. I don't think giving somebody a new gimmick over and over again, that's only worked with Kane.
Yeah.
I don't think it's and they didn't do it with Kane. They gave Kane completely new personas. You know what I mean? They put a freaking mask on him and they dyed his hair. With Baron Corbin, it was just like, this is still Baron Corbin. Now he's got this personality, and he's got this personality, and he's got this personality.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they were doing that to try to give him a shot. I feel like they were doing that because they thought he sucked. Like that's.
Well, I mean, he was pretty good at getting some heat. I mean,
and I don't agree with it. Like, and I think his team with Apollo Crews had a lot of potential.
Him and Breaker were pretty good too.
I like Breaker. For sure.
The NXT stuff was awesome. Like the Lone Wolf guy, like the big Kibosh guy. I don't understand why. Well, I guess when he got up on the main roster, there was a lot of people who were his size or bigger. He didn't look as big. Like when he was down in NXT, there was a lot of smaller guys at the time that he was down there.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole Blue Jay outside. Oh my goodness. Just on my balcony. Just right in my face.
That's awesome.
But I wanted to say though, the same what happened to Baron Corbin, I believe, is the same thing that happened to Cameron Grimes because they were the same character pretty much.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm doing well in life now, so I'm going to be happy me. Or
Right.
I made it big in the lottery or made it big in Vegas. I'm Vegas me. And then I'm
Yeah.
depressed me. And it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, after a
Weird.
while, like sometimes you have to be the Rock.
Right.
Nowadays, and if I'm being honest, it's kind of the same way in dating and nowadays too. Like you have to be the full package to even be on the screen anymore
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
I'm
because
afraid I've
it's
got some
too,
good news. Because
Oh,
oh,
good news.
Wade
that's
Barrett
exciting.
has been teasing at an in-ring return per cage side seats, but he says he is very happy commentating and that his first opponent, if he decides to come back, will be Drew McIntyre.
I knew it.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, that would be fun. They're really good friends. I always liked Wade Barrett. I thought his matches with Randy Orton were freaking phenomenal.
Yes.
At the time, I said that if Randy Orton and Wade Barrett did nothing but wrestle each other for the rest of their lives, I could watch that match, over and over again. Um, and I don't know. Does he still have it? There's always that.
Right.
Um, but I wouldn't be against a Wade Barrett in ring return. I thought he was good, and I thought he had to retire pretty prematurely. Like he was still wrestling well, and then all of a sudden he's a commentator. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was sad.
yeah,
Well, yeah. Oh, was it even injury based, or is it just that he just transferred his talents into
I
like
don't
kind of like Samoa
remember.
Joe or something?
Yeah, I don't remember him getting hurt, but
As far as I know, it was injury related, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
Mhm.
okay.
But
Because I missed the train on him, to be honest.
yeah,
Like that was around
Oh
the
yeah.
time where the Nexus and all of that, like that was a time that was very foggy to me. I hadn't really paid as much attention. I've seen Wade Barrett matches, and I've seen him in what was it, the League of Nations? Was he a
hmm
part of?
yep,
Yeah.
And yeah, he
With the
did
cake.
inexplicably. I just find it weird that we always have these announcers calling their shots when they come up as if they have this. Not everybody is Jerry the King Lawler. Like Nigel McGuinness,
right,
cool. You had a feud, one of the greatest feuds in history, right? I don't think Wade Barrett is Nigel McGuinness. I don't think he can call his shot. Wait in line to face Drew McIntyre. What makes you think you can go up to Drew McIntyre and immediately you've never been Drew McIntyre. Like I find it weird. I find it to be almost to be like very, very like grandiose. So like, oh, I feel like I'm such a big thing where I'm just going to call my shot. I'm just going to be like, oh, you.
yeah.
Like
Well,
maybe Pat McAfee can do it, but he's also a legend in his
Well,
own sport.
I think
Like
I think where he was assaulted by uh, Drew McIntyre, it kind of does give him the right to kind of retaliate a little bit.
yeah, well,
yeah,
it
and
it,
it's
it gives you a
probably
program.
right.
But he's not really saying that. He's calling when he asked
Right.
that question, like he's calling his shot.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, if I'm going to come out, it's going to be against my old protege or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
still,
Wow.
but you never were him. You never were at
Right.
the top of
Exactly.
that mountain. You've been on a mountain, maybe your own ego. Like, I don't know. I don't need people that we have so many talents. It's an embarrassment of riches. I don't need people coming out of their seat to wrestle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of though, I think I'm going to quickly mention this. I'm going to gloss over probably the biggest WWE news of all time, but boys and girls, he finished the story, and after 4 long years, the WWE Hall of Famer is now two-time reigning, defending Commander in Chief. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not going to bring my feelings into it, but he
Oh,
is
that
technically a
thing.
WWE he is technically a WWE Hall of Famer, so we would be remiss to not
I
mention it. So
it's And some
But what I would like to say is I don't think he'll be the last former wrestler to be president. So
I can
Rocky.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Carl Anderson will be sidelined for 9 months due to an injury. He has a partially torn labrum and a rotator cuff injury.
Oof. I'll quickly say I had a torn rotator cuff, and it sucks to come back from. So I imagine it'll feel weird for a while. In the labrum, I currently have a torn labrum, so I get how that feels. So I wish him the best, because
definitely.
I'm very limited on my mobility in my left arm. But I do wish him a speedy recovery. And I hope he does something.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I forget that the Bullet Club is still under contract all the time.
OC.
And missing TV is not going to help that.
Oh no, not at all.
It's a bad situation. And it's weird because when he was Chad Allegra, he flew around and he did not get injured, this much. I know that him and Luke Gallows have both had some injuries, which have kept them off TV. But then there's also just the lack of writing and the lack of a spot for them.
Yeah, and I think that might have something to do with, these injuries we've been seeing too. A lot of people just aren't getting enough in-ring time. And I think whenever they do come back and they get a little bit, they're prone to these kinds of injuries. I mean, it's just how the business is.
What I'm hoping for is that he comes back in time for Finn Balor to gather up the original Bullet Club.
There you go.
And then he'll, Tonga and Loa and Bad Luck Fale and all of them are going to come over, and then we're just going to have the actual Bullet Club. Like the actual OC. So
I didn't see this in the list of news. Mm-hmm. So I want to throw it in there while we're talking about the Bullet Club. I can't remember if we talked about it last week or not, but Chris Bay, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or Chris Bay.
And Ace Austin is a serious dude, man. Like, for him to just be like, screw wrestling, screw everything. I'm going to be there for Chris until he recovers.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty loyalty. Great, man. Yeah, for sure. So hopefully Chris Bay is recovering. I know he had a pretty serious injury, so it might be a while, and good on Ace Austin for standing by his homie, man.
No doubt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wyatt Six has kidnapped the Miz. And my theory is
why not?
It's because it's got to be because he still owes Dexter money. I mean, he never paid the man.
Yeah.
That is funny because I made that connection a little bit too, where it was like, oh, he has he has history with Loomis.
Yes.
But I do like the angle that they took where you thought it was Final Testament that they were after.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna let things unfold. I'm not gonna fantasy book. I'm hoping that they have a good vision for this. So
the so-called reasoning behind this is because of Bo Dallas's history whenever the Miz was using him and what's his name? Curtis Axel.
Oh yeah.
As the proteges and had him doing all their dirty work back in the day. So I think this is a little bit of a revenge for Bo Dallas more than anything.
Right on.
Which I think it will lead into a Final Testament brawl. So
We're just going to have to put on her Scooby Gang hat.
Yeah.
Go find her husband.
This is the thing about this angle, though, is that apparently, because Bo Dallas mentioning all of that, I don't know if we're going to get into that in the talk about the episode, but where does that leave the Final Testament?
Right.
They seem very unattached now. Are they just going to go back to doing what they're doing after getting
But
beat
I
up.
like what Karrion Kross is doing though. Like if you notice, he has been inserting himself into everybody's business and breaking people apart.
Oh, he's been planting the seeds of deception and stuff like that. It's a whole gimmick now. He mentioned
Yeah,
it on.
I love it. It's good stuff.
I'm hoping that it's something. I'm glad that they pivoted away because I don't want to see Final Testament get flattened by Wyatt Six. At least
Right.
yet, not yet. At least,
Yeah.
at least let them be formidable. Because at this point, it's just two bottom feeder factions facing each other.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, let's think about it. There's three very big ones, and then everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't even know
right.
who the third one is.
American made.
Pure Fusion Collective,
It is the PFC.
the
The
purists,
PFCs.
the Puritans. We are the Puritans.
So Keith, WWEID has announced its prospects. So far, we have 3.
Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big Zeta Steel fan, so that's awesome.
Who are the 3?
It's Zeta Steel, Cappuccino Jones, and who's the third guy?
Bryce Donovan.
Bryce Donovan.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do something good.
Yeah. Bryce Donovan is very special. So
right. I mean, all 3 of them are good. I've been following Zeta for a while now. CZW, despite their the shows that they put on, they have a really good school. Like the kids who come out of that school are all pretty freaking good. You know, so so yeah, I mean, I think that there's some good picks. Cappuccino Jones has a lot of personality and energy. Bryce is actually the person. Yeah, right, exactly. Bryce is actually the person who I'm the least familiar with, but I also think it's good that the people who thought that they were just going to focus on the schools and the new talent were wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there on the indies who deserve a look, and hopefully this will lead to them at least getting a look.
That's what I'm hoping for too.
But, that's all you can hope for, yeah. But what is the ID program? Is it really just like a developmental, but it's just more of a outsourcing?
So
like what MLB does in Puerto Rico?
Well, what they're doing with these kids is they're giving them access to additional training, with the WWE. Okay. So it's people who they think have potential to get to the next level. They're helping them get new gear. They're helping sponsor them, like helping them travel to get bookings, like
kind of like their own NILs, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly like the NIL, but with independent wrestlers. And then they're also sponsoring like 5 different schools. And the people who are under contract who have the ID thing are going to be filming their journey. And it's going to be at the very least on social media, but I'm betting it's going to get like I'll bet Netflix is going to use it somehow or something like that. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably going to be turned into a show on Netflix. So that will not only give these guys a spotlight, but it'll also give the promotions they work for a spotlight. And the other, like, I'm assuming some of their opponents will get on the show. And it could lead to a lot, if it's done right. So I think it's cool. And yay, Zeta Steel, dude. I was so happy that she was the first person announced. I'm such a fan. Like, you guys know how much I love women wrestling. So, and I've been watching her for a while.
We appreciate our women wrestlers here.
Absolutely.
On this podcast. We want you to do whatever you feel you should do with your own bodies.
Yeah. And Stan Styles, great dude, runs the Intergender Bonanza, and he's used Zeta Steel on those shows, and that's kind of where I first became aware of her. Mm-hmm. And the Bonanza actually has a lot of great talent on it, and they're fun shows. So yeah,
it's an interesting name.
Have you not heard of the Intergender Bonanza? It's been going on for a few years now.
I was gonna say it sounds like something I would avoid in New York City in like a seedy alleyway.
Well, Stan Styles had this whole gimmick where he wrestled women. That was his
Okay.
whole gimmick. So for the
Straight Andy
most part,
Kaufman did? Okay.
except he's like jacked. And
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
they have
he's really good. He doesn't just wrestle women, but wrestling women was kind of his thing. And he
okay.
he's like the master of the shake weight. So he does a shake weight thing.
Please
And
don't do that on camera, please. Please don't
hey,
do that.
shake weight, man. Come on, shake weight.
Not in front of a green screen. Don't do that motion in front of a green screen. Lord knows what they're going to do with it.
Right. And he's oh Lord, hey, that'll get us viral, dude.
Mhm.
Shake weight.
No,
Take this, use it, put something weird on it.
you just took a minute away from my 2-minute TNA segment.
Sorry.
Thanks a lot.
So Malachi Black, they think maybe on his way out, and I'm losing my voice, out the door of AEW. They say towards the end of 2024, maybe early 2025. But Malachi Black did say that he is not planning on going anywhere as of yet.
Unless you believe Sportskeeda, which is the most reliable source for news on wrestling on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a complete lie, dude. Sportskeeda is terrible.
Oh, that came from Fightful.
No, but Sportskeeda said that he was already gone.
No, yeah.
Sportskeeda said he was already gone and he was going to the WWE. Sportskeeda is trash.
Yeah.
Because when I saw that, I went and looked, and Sportskeeda was literally the only website reporting it. So that he was actually already gone. But he did hug Adam Cole. Is that who it was? After the match?
After
Adam
their
Cole
match,
hugged. Yeah.
Seemed very send-offy. Also,
Did.
also apparently, ladies and gentlemen, Keith woke up and chose violence today.
Sportskeeda sucks. There's such a they report rumors like they're 1,000% true. They make all these assumptions over things that they see. Like, Sportskeeda is so bad, dude.
But that's the thing about it. It's like
freaking news site.
It's everybody with a pod or everybody with a Twitter or everybody with an X thinks that they're a journalist. So immediately when they hear something like it, you can speculate, Aleister Black said that he wanted his release in 2022.
Right.
He didn't get it. So I imagine that, he's doing something like that in the ring is pretty much, it's a step down from taking your boots off.
Right.
Pretty much like that's your call out. And, his wife is over at WWE, Buddy. But I had this conversation with one of the guys at the coffee shop too, but Buddy has a new contract, so I doubt he'll take him. But Trips wants Brody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Trips has been waiting for Brody Lee. He's
Jake Hager.
Brody King. Brody Lee passed away.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, Brody
but
King.
you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I wish we had Brody Lee again. Lord knows.
Yeah, me too. Jake Hager calls Tony Khan a communist and says he threatened to fire him over his support of Donald Trump. Guys, this is why you don't bring politics into business.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe it happened, but look what happened to Drake Younger.
Yeah.
Drake was the top referee in NXT, and he was, and then he said some Proud Boy stuff, and it was over.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. So,
but it's some good news. AEW wrestler Mark Davis has been cleared to return to in-ring action.
Well, he technically did already, yeah. We'll I imagine we'll get to it, but yeah, AEW, he came out looking kind of pudgy.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, not everybody can get on steroids and work out like a demon when they're injured.
Right.
Not everybody has enough time to work out twice a day like me.
Right.
Weird flex, but we got to get in every now and then.
Indeed.
Working out twice a day for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Some indie news. Tom Lawler recently had a medical checkup with his league physician, and he is still not cleared to return to in-ring action. But it could have been a kayfabe, kind of type of injury. We'll see how that is.
Right.
Because
I remember when Tom Lawler was the hot guy on the Indies, and it seemed pretty obvious that he was going to get signed, and then it just never happened. So I don't even know what is going on with his career at this point.
Well, I think a lot of it was just that he was just Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah.
Pretty much an absolute monster, though. I wrestled his brother 3 times in my high school times. He was a legendary wrestler in New Jersey.
Nice.
But
awesome.
yeah, it wasn't awesome for me because I was his 121st win. And I think also his 117th and his 102nd or something like that. Yeah. So fun times. But yeah, the guy looked like an absolute monster. But that's Robbie Lawler's little brother, actually.
Yep.
Oh, I remember Robbie.
Yeah.
You wrestled Robbie Lawler?
No, his little brother.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So are Tom Lawler and Robbie Lawler and some other? Are they all?
Oh no, they're way too tan to be related.
Oh, so okay, gotcha.
I was making a name joke.
Gotcha.
While I was looking for my kombucha.
But no,
that is true though. I wrestled Robbie Lawler's brother 3 times.
Nice.
They look exactly alike, which is weird, but
that's awesome. I remember Robbie Lawler. He was a beast.
Oh yeah,
he was. We do appreciate UFC on the side.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh,
especially the older stuff. I don't watch the new stuff as much, but up until
bad writing.
Up until
the storyline's so weird. Like, why'd you guys have O'Malley drop the title already?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's the same thing as TNA and AEW. Like, I can't watch it because they're not free streaming anywhere, or streaming with a subscription. You know what I mean? Like, even if you have an ESPN subscription, you still have to pay like $80 or whatever it is for the pay-per-views, and to me, the pay-per-views are kind of the most important thing. Like, that's what it all leads up to. So if you can't watch those,
very much so, and that's the part that people are missing,
right?
No, because you can watch like WWE's YouTube in 15 minutes, just get filled in on the whole show, but you can't really do that with the pay-per-view. Like, there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And that is the news.
All right.
News works.
So, going into the roundtable portion of things, I suppose.
Time to go around this table.
Sir.
Word up.
I have a square table.
I'm sitting on my bed, so I have no table.
Oh, I'm kidding. I'm actually doing this on a box.
Nice.
I'm actually sitting on my bed.
Heck yeah. So what do we got going on?
Comfy.
What do we got going on this week? Sorry, I'm looking through the format real quick.
Yep.
I was going to mention though, this when Lawler got beat up by Dijak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the attack, did something specifically happen where he immediately or was it just something where after the fact they were like, oh, by the way, like the Seth Rollins thing, we all knew he was going to be out after before the 6 tsunamis, it just gave it more of a reason for him to go and have a break, It's
so supposedly a knee injury is all it said. It didn't give no really good details. And I looked through a couple different sources and it wouldn't tell me any kind of details on what kind of knee injury.
So it was the knee injury because Dijak did the feast your eyes and hit him in the face with his knee.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, I was injured by a knee. Not my knee, somebody else's knee.
Somebody else's knee.
Into my teeth. Yeah. Orbital bone. Shout out Shinsuke a la Austin Aries.
All right, Keith.
Be nice to have an orbital
bone. We missed something in the news too. There's someone who I have no idea who they are, to be completely honest, but there was a Japanese wrestler who got signed by someone. Either AEW or WWE. It just happened last night.
Ooh.
A Japanese wrestler.
They called him a legend. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it or not.
Yeah.
He got signed last night. People were making fun of him being called a legend by the person who signed him.
Like Funaki?
Huh.
They already have Funaki.
Yeah, no, it's not. Japanese wrestler. I'm just gonna put in Japanese wrestler signed and see if anything pops up.
I put 2024 because then they'll just show
Oh
everybody
yeah,
that's
good
ever
call.
been.
Well, you know what I got? I got freaking autographs.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
But it's not an
It
ID
is.
program.
I don't think so. It wasn't anybody whose name I recognized either.
And we're not talking about like go away matches and stuff like that, right? Or oh,
In
sorry,
America-
sorry. You're talking
Did you
about
find
sorry? Saree? You're talking about her?
No, I'm pretty sure it was a guy.
Fujimura? I was gonna say because she's signed with WWE and she's top 10 in the world women's
wow.
wrestler. Like she's I think number 8 on the list.
Oh wow,
was it Inamura?
maybe is that how you say it? It was like a weird name that started with an I.
It's Inamura.
Let's see. Let me type that in. I-N. Spell it
While you
again.
It's Inamura.
Okay, while you look that up though,
Yeah.
this is legitimate wrestle talk. I'm looking at this on here. Shout out to them, but she used to wrestle for DDT, Stardom, Wrestle One, and she was very high ranked from what I remember, and she was a name that I've been hearing, and she might be that 4 horsemen that Roxanne was talking about.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I should have bookmarked it or sent it to you guys or something. But it happened in the middle of the night last night. Like I was up watching TV, and there was an announcement about it. And like I said, people were making fun of the signing because they said that they were a legend, and people were making fun of them being called a legend. So I'm wondering.
The Great Okan?
No, they had a first name and a last name.
Okay.
And I believe their first name started with an I and their last name started with an M.
Okay.
So I don't.
Well, because I know because nobody's laughing about sorry. Nobody's if I'm even saying her name right.
Right.
My New York Dominican accent cannot make. I can't even make that sound. I can't even make that shape with my mouth at this point.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm not finding it.
Is it Yoshiki Inamura?
I looked, and I didn't see anything about them being signed. So, who knows? Man, that sucks. I should have.
It does have him and Shawn Michaels linked together.
So maybe it was him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yoshiki, but I just looked for Yoshiki Inamura and did not see. Oh, 4 hours ago. Yes, it was him.
Gotcha. I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Yep, 4 hours ago. So, and yeah, it has to be him.
All right.
Okay.
So
we got it. He got signed.
Awesome.
His status with the company has been confirmed.
I was gonna say if anybody gets the chance though, it's the wrestler's name is Sareee. She's had big matches with Julia. She's had like pretty much and we'll talk about this at some point, but NXT is making WWE TNA. They're making everybody look bad.
They are.
Yeah.
How good their women's division is, it's almost ridiculous. Like they had the segment with we'll get to it. I don't want to obfuscate too much. I don't want to go into a completely different realm, but
yeah. And sorry, it just popped into my head like that. Supposedly this Japanese signing last night was a very big deal. So I just, like I said, I should have bookmarked it or something. But I feel like researching on the podcast is sometimes part of the deal.
It's only live.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
No big
deal. Only live.
Hey, I've seen it done on other shows. So hey.
Oh, me too, dude. I've actually Breaking news, baby. Yeah, so Damian Priest, ladies and gentlemen, is the new #1 contender. I
So which
what do
way
you
does the
guys think
table
about it?
go? Which way is the table going?
Yeah, Pablo, what do you think about that? Let's go with you
All right.
first.
One, I'm happy for Priest, even though I know it'll be in a losing effort because I don't think you take it off of Gunther at all, at
Yeah,
least anytime soon. Let
Mhm.
him build up that rapport. Let him have a lengthy run, the one that Damien didn't get.
right.
It's just another way for Dom to mess up Damien again. But I personally thought it was going to be this. I thought it was going to be the almost obvious choice of Dominic.
Yeah,
The way this whole entire thing started, where Carlito was vying for him and all of that, and you know, I thought that they were going to do it just to have Gunther absolutely brutalize Dom, but apparently not. Apparently that's not going to be the case. So yeah, I think congratulations, Damien. He's going to have another big match and get the chance to look good, but I think it's going to be in a losing effort. So
all right. And Brent, what are your thoughts, my friend? Brent?
right, he's talking.
Is he?
You don't have your
So, okay. So back to what Keith said a couple months ago about, about a month and a half ago, about Damian ever getting a sniff at the world title again.
Mhm.
At least he's getting that sniff.
It's not really a sniff though. It's more of like
It's
a
definitely,
small whiff.
yeah, well, it's definitely going to help Gunther with that coming off that Cody loss. That's for sure. You know, let him build some prestige because anytime, I mean, I didn't think Gunther was going to lose to Cody at Crown Jewel.
I knew
It
it.
didn't make sense to let Gunther lose, but they did what they did, and now they got to get Gunther back on track. So I think that's just a way to help him get back on track, and also maybe we'll get a clean win this time from Gunther instead of an interference, but we'll see how that goes.
So I know that I'm moderating and I'm not really supposed to have an opinion, but I
It's
am
fine.
hoping that Damian Priest, they pull a big swerve and Gunther losing is actually setting up Damian Priest winning the belt, which sets up Dominic Mysterio beating Damian Priest for the belt.
Ooh,
Mm.
now see,
Which
That
would
sounds like
suck
a whole
because it would
lot
be
of
another
no.
short reign for Damien, but not necessarily. He could feud with the whole Judgment Day as champ, and have some matches where he beats the hell out of Dominic. But
right?
eventually, you know what I mean?
He falls
Dominic
victim.
Raquel interferes, Liv distracts, Dominic comes out with the title, and then maybe that causes Finn Balor. I can beat Dominic. You know what I mean? And then that forms the whole new Bullet Club. Because,
I'm down with that.
I think that would be
I'm
the
not.
best storyline to come out of this.
I'm
But
not.
I'm not a Gunther fan like everyone else, so there's that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I
I
think
was gonna
Gunther's
say
awkward, and I hate that he beats people up. That's not what pro wrestling is. But
if I can mention, right? I do agree with the Gunther thing. A lot of the reason why I agree with Keith's take with the Gunther thing is because he's smaller now, and I don't feel it's as believable as when he was like 300 pounds, just this
Yeah,
hunking guy. He's just this kind of slim, yeah, your chops are menacing, but they just seem like regular chops on the
but
big
that's all
league.
he has.
Exactly. Well, he had, like he has one of those move sets where he can finish you with a few different things, which I do appreciate, but
right.
he's not the hunking absolute monster that he was when he was fat. It's
Yeah,
let's let's really just be honest about it. And I don't like this angle because I want Damien to be away. I want there to be some Hispanic wrestlers that don't have to feud with each other all the time.
Fair,
yeah, I get
fair.
it.
Like I
Yeah.
get, and Andrade is doing his best of 12 with Carmelo and all of that, just
Awful.
just to lose to LA Knight anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
terrible
seems
booking.
like just give Damien an actual story where he doesn't have to always be be like taking losses because of interferences.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's what I didn't like about 2000s wrestling, or like when The Miz was champion, where every single match is an interference. Every single one has to be some sort of shenanigans where you can't just let somebody lose. But then we have other people losing clean where they shouldn't be losing clean. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. It's weird. Like the heels never winning clean is an 80s thing for sure. Like in the 80s, the only time the heels won clean was when they were working with an enhancement talent.
Yeah.
But there is no more enhancement talent. So now the heels kind of have to get clean wins against top tier guys sometimes, or else it's boring.
Well, they
You
do have
know?
enhancement talent still, because look who the only win AOP has gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Well, what I
from-
mean is uncontracted talent.
Oh,
By
no, I
that,
get what you're saying.
yeah. And they do occasionally have, well, AEW does it, but WWE every once in a while will bring in uncontracted talent, and it's like, that they're just there to make the other person look good,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Kind of like how they.
honestly, those were pretty much the only matches that heels would win clean back in the day. Like if you go back and even watch like old WrestleManias from the 80s, like the heels cheated for the most part. Like
All
you
the
cheated to win. It's what you did, and now it's different.
Yeah.
It's just a different climate now. So yeah, the next subject, Jacob Fatu. Now
Ooh.
this is kind of old news, but it's come back.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years ago, Jacob Fatu had been booked to work a charity that's like a children's cancer charity in Wisconsin. Like it's, and they gave him over $3,000 to come into this show between his flight and his room and all the other things, plus his booking fee, which was $1,030, which is a very strange booking fee.
Ouch.
But yeah. But the day of the event, he called and said that he had some stuff going on. He was going to miss his flight. So they rebooked his flight, which they also had to pay a fee to do. And then he called after he missed the flight. They tried to get a hold of him, finally got a hold of him. And he said, I'm not going to make it. I've got family stuff going on. He never returned the money.
Yeah.
And then they made a public post about it, kind of trying to blackball him, but because he's Jacob Fatu, it's not really possible. So, because I'm giving this backstory because I was following the whole thing. I want people to really know what was going on. But so they made a post about it, and suddenly like a dozen indie feds came out, and this was kind of known on the indie scene, because I was kind of deep into the indie scene at that point. That
Right.
Jacob Fatu wasn't necessarily a trustworthy guy. If you booked him, it was best to be friends with him if you booked him, because he might not show up. But
Yeah.
there was at least a dozen companies where he didn't show up to them. So someone just randomly brought this up on his Twitter, and he shut his Twitter down. He did not even respond to it. He was just like, I'm out of here. A couple hours later, it came out from the charity promotion, at least, that he had contacted them back in May, which is probably around the time he got his deal, telling them that he was sorry. He seemed very sincere, and that they were working with him to get their money back, but that he had not paid them at all yet. No word on if he's planning on paying back the dozen or more indie feds that he scammed. So yeah, and now at this point, people are like, "Oh well, he apologized to the charity. See, you shouldn't have called him out without knowing all the information." But yeah, Brent, what's your take on that, man?
Well, I think he's got that WWE money right now. He might as well just pay off what he owes, and if he's a good man, he'll give him a little bit more. You know what I mean? It was a charity event, man. How are you going to just rob a charity event? I mean, that's basically what he did. I mean, I love Jacob Fatu. He is fantastic in the ring, great worker, But, man, how you going to take money for a charity event and not pay it back? Like I said, he just needs to make things right and not only pay them the $3,000 or whatever they initially paid him, but maybe he should give them double, maybe triple.
Yeah,
Give him like 12. to give him like 12, 15,000. Be like, here, I'm so sorry. Apologize to him. Make things right. You got that big WWE money now. Why not?
Well, the thing about it, right, is that he can, he has the ability to turn it around where he's like, yeah, I meant well, but now here's the money because he has the money. Or at least I'd imagine he has the money, right?
You'd have to.
Yeah, but personally, I think this is great because it just adds to his character. You always have to find a way to make it an angle. It's like, yeah, I avoided. I'm just sitting here with my Hennessy and my Newports and my Timbs. I was like, yeah, I didn't call them back. I just spent all their money on Black and Milds and E-Tabs. I was like, that's what I want. I want my new tribal chief to just be just an absolute savage.
Like a menace, just a menace.
Just kayfabe felon. Just we have one as a president. Might as well just have one as a champion, right?
Right.
I don't know.
I personally feel like focusing on the charity might be the right thing for the news and stuff, but I honestly hope that somehow the independent companies, there's independent wrestling companies that are struggling, man.
Yeah.
And they bring in a name like Jacob Fatu to pop the crowd. And maybe it was a big show for them, some of them. Maybe they were counting on that, that guy to get them through. And so I honestly hope that he doesn't just make it right with the charity, that he figures out a way to make it right with the companies that he screwed over too. Like,
yeah,
this is a bad situation, but Pablo is right. Like, they kind of lean into the idea that Fatu is just a savage who's out for himself, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not use it too,
Does it? Do any crimes actually bother the bloodline? Think about it. Like main event, Jey Uso was Jimmy Uso. All of them pretty much just Jeff Hardy treatment. They're in and out of mad meetings. Probably is like
right. Yeah, it's like it's like freaking DUIs every other week, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So Roman Reigns, speaking of the bloodline, will be appearing on Monday Night Raw. As the bloodline continues to go back and forth to both brands, much like Liv Morgan.
Didn't we speak about this a few weeks ago about the fact that it's just annoying that first Jay was the one that was just transcending, just going back and forth, but always making it about him. Now it's Roman.
Yeah.
He's just a placeholder for Roman at this point. Like, what's different from this and Vince McMahon's where everything was about Roman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, guys. There is no brand split anymore. It was a silly gimmick to sell more T-shirts.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no.
I never liked the brand split. It's the same company.
Lash Legend, like we mentioned, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson were on 3 shows in 1 week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brand split my behind.
Right.
Well, that's I think the Roman thing, making him go back to Monday Night Raw, I think that was more of like a Netflix thing. That was like part of their deal with Netflix.
Okay.
Because they were like, hey, you guys are going to come over here. You're moving SmackDown to USA. We want Roman on the flagship show. And,
gotcha.
I think they're doing that to increase ratings too, because the ratings for SmackDown have been just unbelievable since Roman's been over there. I mean, they're average about 2 million viewers a week, whenever Raw's only getting just over 1.3 million a week. So I think that's what this comes down to is like, hey, how can we make our inaugural show on Netflix be massive? So
right.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Some of that might be the difference between a cable network and is SmackDown. SmackDown's on USA though, right?
Yeah, they moved it over to USA.
Yeah, so it's the same. Yeah, okay. I was thinking they might still be on Fox, but they're not. Okay, so yeah. There's also, they still haven't completely decided apparently on whether or not Raw is going to stream live. They're still negotiating that. Which I thought that was part of the deal, was that it was going to stream live.
That's how I took it whenever I read
so that's
over the
weird.
reports. It would be a live stream show.
Yeah, so that's weird.
So we'll
We
see how
actually
that.
commented on that, so that was. I'm sure that in the end it'll be live. It has to be. Like, I mean, come on,
I'd say so.
just to have it on there on demand is weird. Like, obviously put it on there on demand, but have it live, stream live first. Strange. Um, so I touched on this a little bit, uh, with Gunther, but it turns out that Rhea Ripley's injury is real,
Hmm.
because of that stupid headbutt, that stupid unprotected headbutt. And I talked to some other people on the indies, and there are actually people on the indies who will refuse to take that headbutt. Um,
Can you explain which headbutt, please?
okay, so basically, it's a standing headbutt. It's kind of a new thing. They started doing it in Japan, and then Rhea Ripley kind of brought it over here. Julia does it too.
Is it the one
It's
that
weird.
JD McDonough does, where
Yeah.
he literally
Yeah,
sits there and
yeah,
Drew
yeah,
McIntyre
yeah.
does it as well.
Yeah.
Does okay? Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
has a name for it. It's the gong, something like
Glass.
that.
Okay, yeah.
For Drew McIntyre.
Oh
Calls
no,
it
the Glasgow Kiss. Glasgow Kiss.
Oh, right, the Glasgow Kiss. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah.
So she hurt
So
herself doing that.
she broke her orbital bone doing it to Liv Morgan.
She broke her because Liv Morgan is short. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So she broke her orbital bone doing it to Liv Morgan.
What an
And the thing
absolute
is,
doofy.
right, that headbutt is worthless. Like, honestly, just do a regular headbutt. I
Yeah.
get it that it looks impactful, but like I said, I talked to some independent wrestlers before going into this.
Yeah.
There are people who refuse to take it. Like,
Mhm.
if they say, "Oh, I do the Glasgow Kiss" or whatever, they're like, "No, you're not doing that to me," because it's not safe.
No.
And then the thing about Gunther, like, and it's not just Gunther. It's kind of a pandemic around wrestling, epidemic.
Mhm.
But did you see Cody Rhodes' face? I'm not talking about the chops. He had a giant bruise on his cheek after that Gunther match. The whole
Gunther's
idea of pro wrestling is to create the illusion of violence,
not the
not to
actual
actually
violence.
be violent. Yeah. And the fans are feeding into this thing. And I'm just wondering what your guys' thoughts are
Can I
on
go?
on that. Yeah, go for it, man.
So what I'm thinking is that it came from the strong style, which pretty much seems like it's taken over as like a secondary style, like main
Yeah.
style. Like there used to be, technical wrestling, high flyer, but no, there's like actual for example, AEW, everybody has to have an attack finisher.
Uh-huh.
Everybody what was it? The Swerve's shot where he kicks you in the head.
Mhm.
Will Ospreay doing the chaos theory with
Mhm.
his like faking, or like when he beat up Nick Wayne, where he was just like hitting him with like elbows stiff as heck on his clavicle until like the referee stopped it. Like I don't know who started it. Obviously Shinsuke, and then Tyler Bate and Ilya and over there, and obviously Walter, now Gunther doing it.
Right.
I think there is a place for it, but I don't like how stiff, how, and it is more of a Japanese thing. I would definitely say it's more of a Japanese, like
Yeah.
if you watch Julia with Sari this year, so I don't know how to pronounce her name, they had the most stiff shots, like they had very harsh elbows, very, like they're trying to push the line to where it pretty much is just going to be a shoot fight at some point.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
becoming more and more. Shoot fighting is becoming more and more.
We had a whole gimmick, the Wrestling Underground,
Yeah.
that
Right.
they did, where they were like, "Oh, let's just shoot fight," and I was like, "You know how stupid that makes? That makes everything else in wrestling look."
Right. Yeah,
We have
exactly.
just a straight up shoot fight where you literally just acknowledge, "Hey, now we can fight for real."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's becoming more prominent too, and it's happening a lot more everywhere. Not just WWE.
A lot
or
more
even-
women too. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty much their preferred style is strong style.
Yeah.
It's like
So
it's just a lot.
so
It's
speaking yeah. Speaking on the strong style thing, um strong style was originally just pro wrestling that looked brutal. There was a veteran who had done some tours of Japan who said that this generation got worked into killing themselves. Like they grew up on strong style and they loved it. And they were like, oh, I want to wrestle like that. But they don't have the training to wrestle like actual strong style.
But
So they're just out there beating the hell out of each other.
On that topic though, can't you say the same thing about luchadors?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're out here killing themselves like being spot monkeys like the Jacksons,
Yep.
where they have to put this ladder on this ladder just to climb this ladder, and then like this
Jump
this
off
wild
this
stuff.
ladder.
Jump
And
this
the thing
ladder
is-
onto this another ladder onto a table. It's like, all right.
One of the reasons why I wasn't a big fan of Lucha Libre growing up,
Mhm.
except for the Lucha Libre guys who wrestled like American wrestlers, there was a few like Hector Garza, guys like that. Blue Demon. But
Blue Demon.
yeah, but for the most part, Lucha Libre looked so light. It looked like a circus act more than a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And I think that they felt like they had to make it more impactful, to make it more believable to bring it to America. But all they really had to do was mix some strikes and some match stuff into it.
Well, the
Do
funny
like
thing
Hector
is,
Garza did. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? That's
yeah.
all they really had to do.
Yeah.
well, that's well, it makes sense also because I'd say Alberto El Patron was probably one of the first ones that was like, "Oh, I'm more of a technical wrestler than anything
Yeah.
else." You know, like I'm not Mystico where I'm doing like a double helicopter spin on your shoulders. Like I'm just going to do an armbar on you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
That would have made it more believable for American audiences, more than just like let's put each other through a tower of tables.
You know what the
Yeah.
perfect
I think they did the
example to
wrong
that
way with
is?
it.
While they're on
What's
fire.
The perfect example to this is Pentagon.
Yeah.
Because he could be one of the most devastating technical wrestlers, but he chooses to do the most absurd stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like he could be, up there with the greats as far as like having a really strong mood set, but he chooses to fight like Phoenix. He chooses to fight like Top Flight and stuff like that. And like he's a bit bigger
Right.
too. So it's like kind of like what's Super Crazy, like Super Crazy is a bit bigger and all of that, but it takes a toll on you. And both of those brothers are coming off of just devastating injury histories.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Juventud, not only with his mental health problems, but Juventud was injured quite a bit. All those guys who upped the Lucha Libre ante by hardcore stuff as opposed to wrestling stuff, all were kind of injury prone. Nobody went Rey Mysterio. Like it was rare.
And that's the great thing about Eddie also is that Eddie was a perfect mix of all of those things. Like if he wanted to face Ray, he could go to Ray's level and wrestle like Ray. If he wanted to wrestle Chris Benoit, he would go. He's like, all right, I'm going to be the best technical wrestler I can be, and then I'm going to be the best luchador, and I'm just going to do both. I'm just going to be the best at everything.
We could throw Laparca in that.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking of Laparca too. Laparca was one of the more well-rounded lucha guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He definitely. He was fantastic.
Yeah,
big man that can move like that. He had some awesome wrestling skills. That he brought to the table, man. And
you see
the chairman.
Yeah, with the dances and stuff. I mean, the thing is, if you think about that, like the memorable lucha guys, and the memorable, I can't honestly think of very many memorable strong style guys. Hashimoto, you know what I mean?
It almost seems like he came from the Inoki, though. Remember when he did that?
Oh, sure.
Pretty much
because Inoki wanted to make wrestling. Inoki wanted to make wrestling look more real because he was a big MMA fan.
He was MMA
fan.
Yeah, he was MMA as well. Yes, so he made that time where he ruined a lot of actual wrestlers' careers, but he was wanting to branch out more, probably more of an American style. But I think strong style kind of came from that, and now it's British strong style. Now there's Japanese, but no, I agree. I feel like I like the technical wrestling more because then it feels like I'm actually watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that it's funny because I feel like you guys obviously remember when Becky Lynch got her mouth busted open and her
Wait.
nose broke.
Nose.
Yeah, nose
Becky
broke.
Lynch got her nose broken? When was
Oh
this?
yeah, by Nia Jax.
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell?
I'm just very, very
That's the night
believable and
Becky got
easy to
mad.
Yeah,
trust.
I guess so, dude. That sounded like legitimate shock. And people were like, fire Nia Jax, blah 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 blah. The face of the company, well, one of the faces of the company shows up on social media, and the chops. I mean, dude, I hate that's a badge of honor now. But my
Taking
big
chops, yeah.
focus was his face. Like
Yeah.
and no one was like, "Oh my God, what did Gunther do to Cody's face? He needs to be fired." No one said that. People were
But
just
you know
like,
why?
"Oh, what's
Do
that?"
you know why though? It's because
that's the gimmick.
Cody Rhodes is the same
Oh.
guy who still wants to take unprotected chair shots. He's still the same
Fair.
guy who went
Yeah.
in there with a pectoral tear.
Yeah,
Yep.
true.
He
True,
wants
true,
that.
true.
He's
Yeah,
ruthless.
that
He probably told Gunther, he was like before the
A punch
match,
in
he
the
was like,
face.
make sure my wife doesn't even want to look at me tonight.
Right. He's like,
Make him
hit me
sell
harder.
it. I need
Yeah.
to sell it to Germany.
yeah.
I need to sell it to Japan. I need everybody to know I'm the greatest thing on earth.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is that shouldn't be the mindset
Also,
of anyone in wrestling.
if I could ask, how are you shocked that Gunther lost?
Yeah, I'm not.
There's literally no world where they would ever make Cody lose outside of a bloodline match.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Cody is the
Anytime
guy.
this year.
Yeah, Cody's the
Yeah.
guy.
He's 100% the John Cena over now. Like,
I'm
he'll be-
just disappointed that they didn't let Gunther win that, because it would have helped him catapult that title that he's carrying around.
but he's not the
Yeah,
important one.
Right.
He's not
Cody
the
has
important
the
one, it's
title.
Cody.
Though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Cody has the title, so.
He's the
Yeah.
one he was the only one that would have looked good with a ring.
Right. If they ever do a freaking a unification, Gunther's screwed.
Sorry,
You know
but
what I mean? Cody is-
it's a rip off of MJF's ring. Sorry.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think Liv Morgan winning was the worst decision they could have done.
I think Liv Morgan winning is oddly enough pushing her towards being a babyface, which
It doesn't look
very strange.
it doesn't make either look good.
Yeah.
I think Liv is obnoxious.
It made
Also,
Tiffany look
Nia-
excellent.
Nia Jax was already the queen of the ring.
right.
Mhm.
Give her everything. Make her the dominating force that we always wanted her to be.
Yeah.
That would have made more
Before
sense.
she was taking clean losses to Alexa Bliss.
You
Why
know.
are the women's matches so short in AEW? That's a good question.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that at some point.
Oh no,
Yeah.
wait, let's jump on this right now. Which one of you wants to start on the dog piling?
I mean, dude, I don't get it. I don't know. Like, women's wrestling is on right now.
Yeah.
They have good women's wrestlers over there.
Keith is
Why
the one
aren't
that will
they
open the can of worms.
capitalizing on it? Why aren't they capitalizing on it? Yeah, I'm there. I've got it.
So we're obviously mentioning a specific match, right? Or is it just all of them in entirety? Because I've been watching, and
Go ahead and mention specific matches, brother. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
well, the big return of both Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford.
Right. Yeah. And that's
They
such a
made
weird,
squash match. Yeah.
weird finish, dude. Like, why?
I don't know.
Why did you do that?
I told you that I didn't think that Penelope Ford could win,
Yeah. Yeah.
and goes to show you, two people returning. One person was the biggest thing on earth, and the other person was a
brat, I guess.
a background character to a background character, who
Yeah.
apparently now is a part of was fatherless loser, a part of the patriarchy now. Words of Christian Cage. By the way, we're going to have a Christian
Nice.
Cage conversation, whether you all like it or not, because it's time.
Hey, I love Christian Cage, man.
It's
Now
time for
too.
us to acknowledge.
Big-
It's time for
big
us to
fan.
acknowledge him.
Yeah.
You want to sit here acknowledging Roman, but we're not acknowledging the father, the
Patriarchy.
patriarchy.
Listen, baby.
Acknowledge the patriarchy.
That's right.
real.
By the way, I don't remember. Was that a WrestleMania thing where he wore the Captain Charisma outfit that looked like the Flash? Because that's the greatest pay-per-view
believe so,
costume
yeah.
ever.
I
It's the
believe you're
greatest
right.
pay-per-view costume ever, dude. I love Christian. He's so
Darn you,
creative
Keith.
and talented, and yeah.
Darn you and your charisma.
Hey, I got it.
Are we on?
Oozing,
What
much like
was the-
machismo.
Do we want to get in a bit more on the
on the women. Well, yeah, I'm sure Brent has something to say about it because he's the one who suggested
What I'll
the
say
topic,
is just
so.
that, yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that they need to do a little better of, and one is that they need to actually pay more attention to the length of women's matches because, yeah, it's getting kind of
Yeah.
silly. It's getting
It
kind of
is.
silly at this point.
There was a clip that went viral this last week of Penelope Ford doing a cartwheel and catching a spear in the middle of the cartwheel. The fact
the
that
one
she
that I
has,
sent?
yeah, the fact that she has that kind of timing, there's so much they could do with her, man. Why have her get her ass beat in her match back? Like, and I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
It's because the bigger
fan.
star was also the bigger star's match back as well. That's why. That's
Yeah,
why
but
I
she's
felt it was a
so
weird place to
marketable.
put them.
I still get
It
like
is. She's so marketable.
I like Jamie Hayter, but I get a kind of they're trying to steal from Gigi a little bit and trying to make them similar.
What are we talking about, Gigi?
Hey now.
My Gigi?
Comebacks.
Yeah, you're Gigi.
Gigi, come back.
So
You can blame it on
I don't know.
on
I just
me.
think that they need to reevaluate what they're doing with their women's division over there for sure.
When
Well,
Gigi comes back,
considering-
does she join Fatal Influence?
No,
No,
please don't.
she becomes a PFC.
Person of color?
Yeah, what is that?
Pure
I don't know what that
PFC.
is.
Pure Fusion
Oh,
Collection.
Oh, she joins the
PFC.
Pure Fusion Collective. Oh, Lord.
Oh no, please no. Because then that means I don't have a chance with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I know, man. Zoe Clark is straight. Or Zoe Starks is straight.
She's married.
Yeah. She's in a common law marriage, which I mean might as well be a marriage.
Yeah.
Common law marriage is common.
Yeah, she's been with this dude for like 17 years. So I mean, you know. But
Remember on our notes before, we don't mention Zoe Stark. We don't speak about. I'm kidding. But no, I think there's a lot of TV, and they have to figure a way of
balancing it
a bit more. Yeah, because it's a bit
for sure.
It's a bit ridiculous, especially when NXT is literally they have a cavalcade of amazing wrestlers that are way better than watching a Piper Niven versus Michin.
Oh man, TNA too, man. Every company does a good job of highlighting their women, you know. And AEW, it seems like they were doing it for a while, but I don't know. I can't wait till they get this deal on Max so I can pay more attention to what they're doing. To be completely honest, and I may
pay more to watch it.
Yeah, I may spring for the TNA gimmick, the year gimmick next year. So we'll see how it goes.
You're the Hendry next year.
I hope so.
You heard it here first.
Freaking hope so. All right. So the last thing on the roundtable agenda, this is the time of the year-end awards and the year-end lists and all the things coming out. You know, PWI 500 kicked it off in August, and that's obviously the most respected list. And people still complain hard about they're not being on it. Their friends aren't on it. They're not high enough. Blah 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 blah. I'm serious. I'm talking about from an independent community, and this is the thing. Like now that independent wrestlers are on social media, and they can just spew their thoughts with no publicist. You get to see like how petty some of these guys are. In Indiana, there's a list put out by this autistic guy, the Hoosier Wrestling Alliance list, and it's just him by himself. And he hands out awards, and people were so upset about it that he took the list down, and he's not going to do it anymore.
Huh.
And this is just like a longtime wrestling fan who gets some joy out of this, and it doesn't really mean anything. There's also
They'll always be outraged, though. They'll always be outraged
no matter
with
what.
that.
I mean, we just raged last week about Sports Illustrated's top 20.
Right. Yeah, sure. There's, and I mean, there's the BLE, the Black Excellence 500, which has had white people on it.
How's that work?
Well, there's a guy named Gaston Leroux, who I guess because of his name, the guy who creates the BLE thought that he was black without actually doing research on him. And so last year when he made the list, Gaston LaRue is from Ohio. So there was all of these people in the area. Someone made a whole video about Gaston LaRue's first day as a black man. And it was hilarious. Um, but and then the wrestler to watch list, which is one that I'm actually involved in, and we took so much heat for the placement because people did not understand how we were making the list, which the
Right.
list was supposed to be based on the potential of what they were going to do in the following year,
Right.
not who was better than who. So my question is, what are your guys' thoughts, not only on the lists themselves, but the reactions that the lists get? Are they even necessary? Uh, do you think they help people track down wrestlers that maybe they want to watch, or do you think they're just cause controversy? Like, what do you think the purpose of them is? Brent, go ahead, roll it out, man.
Well, I think that you can't really base anything off these lists. I mean, you could a little, but I mean, overall, it's just giving you a good insight of who to watch for, and who these up and coming stars. And I just think that these lists mean more than just where you're ranked at. It's not necessarily a rank of where or how good you are, but just to give you some exposure, because I mean, some of those guys, we knew who was number one last year, of course.
Yeah.
We know who's going to be number one this year, of course. I mean, there's so yeah. I mean, now the indie lists, I kind of get it because a lot of people don't watch a lot of indies, and but if you wanted to check some indie guys out, that list will help you find out, who to watch for, who's up and coming, who could make that jump to WWE, AEW, TNA, so it's a good thing. But I think a lot of people just take them the wrong way and they get butthurt over it.
Yeah. Pablo, what are your thoughts, man?
Anytime there's a list or some sort of opinion, everybody's going to have their say on it. And it's a funny thing about, this world where if you're brave enough to have an opinion, people are brave enough to shoot it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I understood the indie one. That's the one that really matters. It's more like top 10, like who's your top 10 rappers, right? Like, oh, who's your top 10 ever WWE? Like everybody's going to have a different list. It's always going to be biased. It's always going to be, it could be Sports Center. It could be Sports Kita. It could be Bleacher Report. It could be Billy that eats his boogers under the bleachers during the gym. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they'll always have an opinion, and your opinion will always be wrong, even if it's right. You know, you could have the most perfect list where Hulk Hogan is nowhere close to the top 20. When you're like, yes. There's always going to be one person who's like, wait, mate, Hulk Hogan's my number 3. And I was like, oh, you're wrong, but I suppose it is your opinion.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's really it, Oh, I was going to say, I do like the indie one, and I like the fact that we have the top lists and the ones to watch. But yeah, it's just posturing. It's just locker room talk when it comes to who's the best wrestler ever or who's the best current wrestler right now. But as long as you have a compelling argument, then you can say whatever you want, but you have to be able to back it up.
Exactly.
So it's meant to be divisive. It's meant to people, the person at Complex who said Joe Budden was the number 3 best rapper ever.
Was wrong.
Criterion, I respect Joe Budden, shout out to Jersey, New York. But he was going off a different criteria or whatever, or he was something, but he wanted to say something salacious. He wanted to say something that would make people be like, what? At the end of the day, so it could be exactly that. It could be just like, oh, let's make people feel this way because we left Ric Flair off because, everything he did outside of WWE was more. So
right.
These lists are made to be controversial anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to chime in a little bit on rappers real quick because why not? I think Busta Rhymes. I think Busta Rhymes is the greatest rapper of all time. I think R.A. the Rugged Man is top 10. I think Tupac and Biggie are probably somewhere in the middle. I think Tupac is better than Biggie because he was a better storyteller. I feel like all of the things that I just said are very controversial. So
I actually, not that we're doing a rap podcast, but
yeah,
always could be. But
yeah, hey,
I would say that the Tupac one with about him and Biggie isn't really controversial. I think that's almost obvious. He had better storytelling, and
For sure.
Biggie had his lane. But yeah, I'm not gonna say Method Man's better than Busta Rhymes, but this is my opinion.
He could be.
It's a correct opinion, but it's my opinion. But yeah,
I think Exhibit is a top 10 guy.
Yeah,
I love Exhibit.
Oh, he's great.
People don't listen to Exhibit's lyrics. They just are like, oh, he's a guy who gives away cars. Exhibit is a freaking lyrical. Like he says, I put together rhymes better than Sony Electronics. That's real life. You know what I mean? Like that's what he does. So
it's funny how people it's funny that people think Ice Cube is an actor. And they think Exhibit's like, oh, from Pimp My Ride? Like, no.
Yeah. No, dude. No, from freaking rap.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like Ice-T wasn't always on CSI or whatever.
Right. Or New Jack City or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He released this song called Colors and 6 a.m. that were freaking killer. But anyway, I guess that is going to wrap up the roundtable portion. Let's get into the individual shows for the week. Is that what we're doing next?
Yeah. I'd say so. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So, or do you guys want to hit on the indie spotlight? I'm good with either. Oh yeah, no, we'll just do the shows.
Okay.
So, what do we got going? What happened over on Raw? Yeah.
So I said this last time, and I ended up going over the whole card. There's not a lot that happened, so we're just going to hit the highlights here a little bit. Io Sky, guys, number one contender, huh?
Yes,
I know, right? That's Io is the best.
Yeah, so she deserves it after being thrown on her head by that green ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're definitely right.
Man,
greener than my Game Boy.
Oh, Lord.
If I could say though, is she? I'm sorry. Who's the champion on Raw again? Is it Liv?
It's Liv.
Yeah, it's Liv.
So Liv Io.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about. Okay,
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I can see that. One's obviously better than the other, but
right. Well, yeah, Io's way better than Liv, but
we all know that.
Oh yeah,
but Liv is the personality right now. You know what I mean? And she has some explosive stuff. I can't wait to see her explosive stuff with Io's. I love it when there's people who have good movement who work with people who are good at catching people.
Yeah.
And I mean catching them in moves, not catching them physically, but like, catching. I could see her hitting like the Oblivion off something cool. You know what I mean? Like I just.
Top rope Oblivion while she was going for the moonsault or something.
Yeah, something cool like that.
Gets caught up.
Right.
I think they can come up with something good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. I'm glad.
Yeah, very happy about it.
They could have made Lyra Valkyria the number one contender. Wouldn't have hurt my feelings any, but no, I really like the decision of letting
most importantly, she didn't just win. It's just the way she won, right?
Yes, the way she won. Yeah, it was good. It was actually a really good matchup between her and Lyra. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Damian Priest defeated Dirty Dom, Sheamus, Seth freaking Rollins, and is the number one contender. Which we hit on this a little bit ago, guys. It's awesome.
It's just delaying the inevitable, man. Dominic Mysterio world title reign.
Yeah, well, it kind of confused me because wasn't Dom already the number one contender? And then,
right?
I think Adam Pearce was like, "Oh, let me put another layer into it," and that's why I thought that Dom was going to win because he's going to be like this pretend Kofi thing where he's like, I've done all this stuff.
Right.
I'm 1 for 97 in the last 2 years.
Well, the other new,
but cute girls like me. and I
Yeah, they
don't know
do.
why.
Tiffany's gonna take him. Are you serious?
And I'm single. That's crazy.
Dude, he is the
Also,
luckiest. Yeah, shoot.
My mustache is better than Dom's, and
Your
that's
mustache is pretty fire, brother.
yeah,
there's
yeah.
really no debate. That
And
plus
Dom
the 5
doesn't have the
o'clock.
delicious goatee like I have.
He doesn't
you
have
know?
the 6:30 o'clock shadow either.
Right. I just trimmed this up the other day, so
That's
And
AM,
they're
not PM.
I created my shadow with a Clippers, but
What a
there
guy.
it is. Yeah.
they also rumored Adam Pearce returning to in-ring action. I didn't get to cover that, but I think he should stay out of the ring myself.
We know what we're seeing. We know exactly what's going to happen. Nick Aldis
Yeah, I was
and
just thinking
Adam
wrestle Nick
Pearce
Aldis.
against A-Town Down Under. That's their first.
Nice.
That's what's happening. I can see it. You know,
Adam-
like they
Adam
both have.
Pearce-
They said Adam Pearce and Randy Orton.
That's
Oh
what
my
they're getting
Lord.
at because he. Well, I saw this video on X2, but they were talking about how. Remember when Randy Orton paid Nick Aldis for a fine, and Nick Aldis was like, "Oh, this is 100,000. I just needed 50," and he was like, "No, no, this is for the next time."
That's awesome,
So-
dude.
But
That's
the
amazing.
way Adam Pearce did that whole thing on Instagram that I just seen before this, it
Yeah.
did look like he was trying to make himself look a bit more menacing
Right.
because he can, he's more removed than Aldis. Aldis was
For sure.
wrestling high caliber matches less than a year ago, or
Right.
less than a year before he started with WWE. So like,
Right.
I haven't seen much of Scrap Daddy in a very long time though. So
Yeah, it's been years.
same thing with
Adam
Nigel
Pearce
though. Like
said,
just rubbing,
yeah.
just that's what I'm talking about. The ring rust, like
Right.
getting people out there. We have so much talent that we're just like, oh, let's try this. Let's try Pat McAfee. Let's try Corey Graves now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
come on, can we just?
Is Corey Graves finally going to get to come back?
He's been cleared for like almost a year and a half, 2 years.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
wonder, maybe he's just happy doing the commentary. Who knows?
But also, where are
Maybe.
you carving out a niche in this company? Where
Yeah.
like you have to start from the ground.
And then they have to find a replacement commentator, which
Speaking of
obviously is
commentating,
harder than
Mhm.
than it should be.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
speaking of commentating, have we mentioned the whole thing with Samantha Irvin?
Yeah, we talked
Oh,
about
we talked about that last week when it happened, but you weren't here.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I don't know what she's seeing because her as a manager wasn't going to be fun. I
right.
didn't think her
Right.
as a manager. I don't think her as a manager would have been like, as she's cute.
Yeah.
What's she gonna do? Sing
Yeah.
you to
Yeah.
death?
Yeah, I agree.
Like she's all over these reality like TV stuff and like social media and singing competitions and all that. To be a
Right.
manager though, what? No.
I think maybe if she had gotten put with someone who doesn't talk like her husband, and she
For sure.
had gotten to put her energy and her drama into their character, maybe. But actually, at ringside, she wouldn't have done anything. She would have been Elizabeth.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it would have
Yeah.
been, but that's why I was like, oh, might as well use the
Yep.
nice voice you have instead of just like being like Scarlett. Remember
Right.
Scarlett Bordeaux used to wrestle?
I do remember when she used to wrestle well. Yeah.
Maybe that's
yeah,
why
in
Markova.
TNA.
That's maybe why
Yeah.
Markova didn't want to come to WWE
Yeah.
because she'd
Well,
be like immediate eye candy, wouldn't even be allowed to wrestle.
I know that just because I follow Adam Pearce on social media and he's super interactive with the fans.
Scrap
He
Daddy.
has been adamant over the years about not wanting to wrestle. He has no interest in wrestling, but he's also a company guy. Like he puts the WWE over pretty often. So I'm assuming he's going to do whatever they want, but I'm also assuming that it's not his idea if he does wrestle. So I'm wondering how good it's going to be,
Hmm.
But
Question.
yeah.
So-
Do you guys remember going back to Rat for 1 second? When Adam Pearce said that he had a special announcement, like he put a timeout and everything, like this is going to be announced at this time, and it sucks that I have to take 2 minutes out of my life to do this. And he rapped "Forgot About Dre."
Oh my gosh.
It was so good, dude. It was so great. It was
Okay,
so
that's-
awesome.
We hit our rap limit on the pod. Remember, we only talked about 2.5 minutes of rap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for Raw.
Well,
Okay.
I was gonna say the War Raiders
Yeah.
won, and to be honest, yeah, you're right though. Not much of Raw was even really aside from the Miz. being kidnapped. Of
Kidnapped,
course.
yeah. Which
Which
we
we
already
talked
did.
about.
Which
So-
we
I think
talked-
it's cool long-term booking, the fact that they immediately showed that, the vignette or the flashback of Bo looking really upset at Miz.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think Maurice should show up in Inspector Clouseau gear and be like, "Where is my husband?"
And then she finds Nikki Cross, and then they have the stiffest match.
Indeed. Where is he? So do we want to roll into TNA?
I was gonna say let's go in order the days. Let's go NXT, and then I can touch a little bit on TNA.
Okay,
There's not
cool.
that much.
So NXT was a weird show this week. Out of the ECW arena, so there was a lot of nostalgia. I'm not sure why they ran on Wednesdays. I was planning on looking it up and I forgot to do it. Well, not necessarily forgot, just ran out of time. Because I'm wondering if it was to book the ECW arena. Like maybe it was only available on a Wednesday. I feel like if that was the case, it was a fun show. Some cool stuff happened, but obviously with the ECW guys being almost the focus of it, you didn't get as much as you would on a normal NXT show. But the 10-woman main event was very good. Zarya pinned the world champ. Or the NXT champ. And then
That was shocking.
that was shocking. I was really surprised. It's been forever since Roxanne took a pin,
Yeah, but I'm
So
not
that was,
surprised about who pinned her, though. That girl's a freaking monster.
She is
True. Yeah. When she speared Jordan Grace, and I still think, despite the celebration at the end, that could derail her from wrestling Roxanne for a while. Yeah. Jordan, because they're both big powerhouses, Jordan Grace could, in retrospect, be pissed that she speared her.
Yeah.
And because I don't think it's time to take the belt off Roxanne unless they're calling her up. And I can't see them calling her up because she's in the middle of some stuff right now.
A lot.
So,
A lot.
yeah, as always, Fatal Influence looked so good in that match. Those three girls work so well together, and they're just one of the best things on TV now.
Yeah, I really like Jasmine Nix a lot too, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
She's really good.
She's come along so well. Nunzio doing the cross before he took the powerbomb was excellent.
That was funny.
I was all about that. That was really cool.
Like
But Nunzio looks terrible. He's lost all of his muscle definition, and he's always been tiny. So, the match was decent, but there really wasn't any reason for him to be in the ring, just like there wasn't any reason for the Dudley Boys and the table, except Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland pinned Swerve, so both the champions got
that's wild to me
on this show. Yeah,
I think that was more shocking to me that Ridge coming out of the Chase U beef comes out and immediately he's immediately with Ethan Page and
right.
I like those two together because they're the two most dastardly heels in the company.
Speaking of Ethan Page, did you guys get to see his diss to Trick?
No, I mentioned that.
Yeah, we talked about that, but I haven't seen it. I think we talked about it the week you were here.
I think it's funny. Yeah,
I haven't seen it. I meant to look it up and haven't had a chance.
It's pretty funny.
Did you guys see what happened to poor Rob Stone?
More rap.
Yeah.
What happened to Rob Stone?
So Roxanne was very upset that she lost, and Cora Jade was trying to console her, and Rob Stone came up just kind of off to the side to see what was happening, and Roxanne hit him with a super kick, and then she said, "I just hit Stone."
Oh God! What a ridiculous!
Yeah, it was pretty great, and then he commented on it and was like, I can't remember what happened to him on the show now. He got beat up by somebody. Oh, Gore. Yeah. So he commented on it on the same night that I got gored. So that's pretty funny. Rhino still looks awesome. Rhino still has the best spear in the business.
Yes, of course.
So I don't know. But like I said, it was more of a tribute to the building that they were in. I loved the Lola Vice Jada Parker match. Really good hardcore match.
Lots of booty.
Yeah. They're both super talented and super attractive and have big butts. So it was good. The dancing is always a plus.
Mad because Lola didn't win, but
Sookie
that's okay.
Sookie. You know
Jaden's
what I
pretty
mean?
good.
Suka
But
Suka now.
yeah, but yeah, overall it was, I mean, some cool stuff happened, but the cool stuff that happened wasn't even the focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a backstage segment with Charlie Dempsey and Lexus King and William Regal that should have been on last week because it
Yeah.
happened right after their match. So it was weird that they just kind of inserted that. But I dig that Regal is sort of acknowledging that Dempsey's his kid, without acknowledging it. Ren's little comment of "he's so fatherly" was funny, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
like, but overall, despite the fact that some amazing, shocking stuff happened, the fact that the show was focused on the building and the ECW guys kind of took away from it. So it was like,
Yeah.
I
can see
loved
that.
the
A
wrestling,
tribute
you know
show,
what I
yeah.
mean? But it took away from my enjoyment of it a little bit, But still,
Also, yeah,
great wrestling as always, But yeah,
didn't really add much to it. It was really just showcasing to the young
yeah,
people, oh yeah, this is where everything came from.
right. This
Everything
was the
being that,
hardcore,
yeah, exactly. Hardcore Haven.
hardcore, yeah. ECW has a ride premiering at some park though. It's like the ECW Tunnel of
I've seen
Terror or
that.
some crap.
I've seen
So
that.
maybe that's why they did it. Maybe to get the interest in the brand up because they're about to have a ride somewhere. But it's weird. Yeah,
Well, Sabu doesn't need work, so yeah.
yeah.
I
He's
got
just
like
gonna
8
be there
minutes.
scaring people.
We got like
What's up? Say that again?
we got like 7 minutes.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna say we've only touched on one of them things.
Well, are we gonna go a little bit over 3 because we started late, or are we stopping at 3? I mean, I know
That's
Brent has to hop off at 3, but
yeah. I have to go through. You guys can continue.
Okay,
right
well,
on.
we'll knock out. We'll keep going. And anything
Yeah.
else on the NXT front?
No, but man, I have a Sabu story.
Ooh, we.
If you guys want to hear it real quick, I was selling merch for the Soul Shooters, and Pee Wee. If you guys remember Pee Wee from ECW, he's a ref. He used to run a company called Fist in Granite City, Illinois, which is right on the border of Illinois and Missouri. After the show, we hung out with Sabu at a strip club, and they were selling pulled pork sandwiches in the parking lot. And Sabu turns around after buying one with like barbecue sauce dripping off his hands. And he's like, "Any of you guys want one of these sandwiches?" It was just really funny. And he left the strip club very angry over something that I don't feel like I can divulge, but I can tell you guys about it later.
Okay.
Well, I mean, no, I can talk about it, whatever. We were VIPs. We were in the VIP section, and he thought that there was going to be some girls coming over to hang out with us.
Oh
And the
yeah.
management never sent over any girls. So he got pissed and just went back to the hotel.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
super mad, dude.
I'd be mad
So-
too.
Yeah.
Angry
Yeah.
Sabu is my favorite Sabu.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, he didn't say anything. He bought us all drinks and we were partying. He was having a bunch of fun, and then the girls never showed up, and he was just like, I thought the blah, 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 blah. And he was
The girls
in
never
Pee-wee's face.
came.
Yeah, he was in Pee-wee's face, dude, and then he just walked off. He just left. So, and CJ Otis had to go because he was driving him around because he trained CJ Otis. So CJ Otis rolled out too. So that was the end of that.
For shizzle.
Yeah, we closed the place down though. We stayed much later and drank more and got lap dances and stuff. But anyway. All right, so that's the NXT ECW Sabu story. TNA, AEW, wherever you want to go, Pablo.
I'll mention the TNAs real quick because life.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace and Slamovich are amazing.
That they are.
They are the quintessential women's tag team.
Yeah.
Nowadays. Much better than the tag team of Ash and Heather by Elegance. So apparently that's going to be the thing because they're feuding with Jody Threaten and Danny Luna being Spitfire, the tag champions, and Heather but Reckless, who is now renamed Heather by Elegance.
Hey, now she's not reckless anymore.
No, she's not Reckless.
She's elegant.
She does
She's
still have that
definitely-
sexy tattoo, though.
Oh, that
Can't do
doesn't
anything
come
about
off
that.
easy.
Yeah, can't do anything about that.
So pretty much, yeah, they took a loss though. I don't think that they'll win the tag championship, but I think it'll be cool. I liked their corresponding Devil Angel gear. Rosemary and Wendy Chu are feuding now, so Rosemary
Interesting.
beat her. You know, it's confusing because Wendy Chu is on both, and she doesn't seem to be doing much on both at this point. She's taking L's left and right, front and back, side to side.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually,
Vegan
very
superstar.
important news. I was wondering why Eddie Edwards was going after Nick Nemeth instead of Moose, but Moose beat Cornball for the title.
Hey, now.
Whoa.
So Moose is the X Division champion after barred from ringside. He beat Cornball Mike Bailey, who was also turned on by Trent Seven, who, by the way, is on TNA.
All right.
Give it up for Trent Seven still having a job.
Yeah.
Is Trent Seven? Is that from the Dude Busters?
Tyler Bates, no, from Mustache Mountain.
Okay,
Yeah.
right on.
But
People
also,
change their names so much, I get confused too soon.
exactly.
So,
Joe Hendry also dropped a music video about apparently he's feuding with Ryan Nemeth, who is Nick Nemeth's real life brother.
yeah.
He made
Okay.
a song about how all anybody knows about him is that he's Nick Nemeth's brother by saying he's Nick Nemeth's brother. And that's it.
Is
Yeah.
it on Spotify? If it is, I shall stream it today.
I imagine it will because I believe in Joe Hendry is.
Indeed.
You know, Mike Santana had a match. I like him, but he seems lost without LAX.
For sure.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't mind it. They're setting up the next pay-per-view is at the end of November, and they're setting up for as of right now, all it is Nick Nemeth versus Eddie Edwards, which I just think is 100% going to be a win for Nick Nemeth. So I didn't really like the TNA this week. Obviously, main event being Cornball, so it's going to be immediate down. Even though he's a better wrestler now, but he's also now just the owner of two very short reigns.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
So-
apparently he's going to be feuding with Trent Seven, which I really don't care for. But otherwise, how
Yeah.
are the other ones? How was the other train wreck that is AEW? I don't pick sides, but I
Yeah.
call it out. You got to call it as you see it. And I saw this week's. What the heck?
I didn't watch it, so
Um,
Brent, I'm sorry that we didn't get to Crown Jewel while you were here, man. We should get your opinion on it next week for sure.
that's cool, man. Like I said, I really didn't have any opinions on it. I thought it was
We'll dig into it.
pretty cut and dry, but
Mhm.
Indie Spotlight we have to hit.
You want to do Megan Bain real quick?
Yeah, because she
Talk
is,
to the people about Megan Bain, dude.
So this week's Indie Spotlight is Megan Bain, right?
Mhm.
Probably the best female wrestler out there right now, hands down. She's making her way through the Indies. She's supposedly had a deal with AEW, but nothing ever came to light. So I don't think she is under any kind of contract with them. She's had some very, very awesome matches against Julia.
Miyu Yamashita.
And like I said, if you guys have not seen her or know who she is definitely someone worth looking into and checking out what she can do in the ring, because this woman, she won't only beat the hell out other women, she will beat the hell out every man that steps in her way.
Consensually, of course.
Yeah, pretty girl, good movement, powerhouse, but not clumsy. Definitely somebody to check out. That's just my brief synopsis.
Yeah,
of
she is
Megan Bain.
fantastic.
Yeah. Right on. Well,
Good person.
guess,
yeah, look her up.
yeah, for sure. I guess, Brent, are you rolling out, brother?
Yes, I have to
All right, man.
bid you.
Enjoy the
Farewell.
asbestos. We'll see you next week. I'm sure we'll keep talking. We'll talk more at some point.
Of course,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, always. So,
All right. Well, everyone have a fantastic weekend.
Don't tell me what to do.
hey now.
All
All right.
right. Later,
So
guys.
later,
Peace.
brother. So yeah, I have no opinion on AEW and probably won't have much of an opinion until they appear on Max, other than like the news that pops up. So I'm not even sure what happened. I know that rumors are going around that they're seeing Orange Cassidy as the long-term face of the company. Have they made any moves towards that?
Okay,
'Cause I
so
don't know.
what it looks like, right, is that specifically the big thing on Dynamite was that Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin, who are legitimately the Wonder Boys of Tony Khan, like as
Right,
soon as
right.
they came to the company, they're immediately the highest booked people. You know, Darby
Yeah,
Allin has probably won more matches in AEW history.
right,
He's also been in more matches, and then Orange Cassidy was the indie darling that pretty much was counterculture to the seriousness of WWE.
right.
So they were facing BCC, which is Claudio and Pac,
Yeah,
and then so we already spoke about the Jamie Hayter one with
yeah,
Penelope Ford. They had a match. The
yeah.
there was a trios match between Chris Jericho's Learning Tree and the Conglomeration.
Okay.
And then the Adam Cole Malachi Black one, which we also
Right.
mentioned.
We touched on that too.
But there was also
Okay.
there was also the match. It was Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke against Ricochet and a mystery partner who turned out to be Hobbs.
Right, right. And they've
Hurts.
got like a crew going now.
And then exactly. The two more important things though is
Yeah.
that the Hurt Syndicate made their debut and Christian
Right.
Cage came out to talk to Hook.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm
So
big on, I
he's a
will
daddy.
always say Christian Cage. I will always say that Christian Cage is doing good because not only is this the best work he's ever done in his career, hands down, best work he's
Yeah.
ever done in his career. I don't want to hear anything. Not
Yeah.
only that, he is probably the best thing going on in AEW right now.
Sure. I love Christian, man. I cannot. I will never say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
So I think he has the best punches in wrestling.
But yeah,
Um.
he has the best punch, but also he's matured so well on the mic.
Right.
He's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole thing about was that he attacked Taz last week or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
And then he came out to speak to Hook, and he came out obviously with Nick Wayne and Mama Wayne, but then he also came out with Kip Sabian.
Oh,
And
okay.
funny thing is that Nick Wayne is like the jealous older brother or the jealous younger brother because
Right.
Christian Cage adopted quote unquote, which is in verbatim, this fatherless loser. And that's what Christian
So
Cage
good.
called Kip Sabian
So good.
on TV. And it's like he's he's amazing. And then he proceeded to tell Hook that, oh, do you want to be like your dad, who was too scared to come up to the majors and just put on the headphones? Or
Yeah.
do you want to be the future champion? He always calls himself the future AEW champion because he has that contract, pretty much the money in the bank.
Right.
But he's absolutely, if people do not jump on this train now, you're going to wish you did because at some point he's going to fight a face Chris Jericho and it's going to be amazing.
Right.
At some point he's going to fight for the title against Moxley. It looks like kind of soon. It's
Yeah.
looking like possibly, especially after he beats the two baby faces, the two only baby faces in AEW
Yeah.
actually that could even fight Moxley. So, but I think yeah, Christian, he's amazing.
Right.
Hurt Syndicate, they look the part. You know, MVP, he looks like a sleazy businessman. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are imposing, but they're also in their
Right.
50s.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Sheldon Benjamin at least doesn't look like he's in his 50s, you know?
oh, none of them do. Black does not crack, man, and that's coming from
Yeah,
somebody who's half.
right, for sure.
So Lord
Yeah,
knows, like you
and a
know,
white guy who has a giant freaking wrinkle in the middle of his forehead.
hey, but that's okay. I made peace with that.
Yeah, it happens.
Hmm.
So as far as Crown Jewel, which we also talked about a little bit,
Are we going to mention a little bit of Smackies?
oh yeah, well, yeah.
A tad,
What did
and
happen on
then
SmackDown last week?
oh, I was hoping you knew. No, I'm kidding.
Man, I don't. I guess we're
Well,
not going to mention SmackDown.
No, I was gonna say let's go straight into Crown
everybody-
Jewel, and then if certain storylines come up that have to do with SmackDown, then we'll mention it. But
Yeah, hopefully Brett usually covers SmackDown, so I didn't even.
I watched SmackDown, and hopefully everybody else did because
Yeah.
looking good, and SmackDown is tonight as well. So.
Right. So as far as Crown Jewel, like the crowd was in love with Liv, which isn't super surprising. And I still believe Tiffany. I don't think she was going to cash in on Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I think that was the hesitation because she was like, I want to cash in on her, So I love how they're doing that storyline at the very least. Like,
I just wonder how
Tiffany's
long they're
so
going to draw it
confused.
out.
I know she needs to cash in on someone.
Well, it's because it's feeling like a Damian Priest type thing, or I'm trying to think about who's the worst with the false cash-ins.
Oh,
geez. It must have been the one who lost.
Yeah, didn't someone not cash in? Like they had it for the whole year and never cashed in, I thought.
No, that was going to be Priest. No, somebody.
Okay.
God, it was somebody who's relegated to nothingness now. Oh, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, he like threatened for a while, finally did it, and then lost it immediately.
Man. Yeah,
because
that's
of
rough.
Somebody else messing him up. I think it was.
Has anyone who's cashed in ever had like a meaningful title reign?
Edge, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe. Because I remember like Jack Swagger,
CM Punk
meant nothing. Okay.
I
So
think
there's been a
CM
couple.
Punk's was big. Edge's, both of his were big actually.
Okay.
I believe
There's been a couple.
twice.
But a lot of times I feel like the Money in the Bank is just like service to the fans. The person who wins it is someone who the fans are like, oh, they should have won the belt by now. So they like Io Sky, you know what I mean? They have him cash it in.
Well, like Big E or
right. Or Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger.
Well, that was what it was meant to be until freaking Brock Lesnar got it over Mustafa Ali.
Yeah. But yeah, the Money in the Bank's an interesting concept. It leads to some cool moments, but I am wondering what Tiffany's going to do with the damn thing.
I don't know, but I'd like her to win it at some point.
Yeah. Did you see the? I'm assuming it was a plant at this point, but did you see where Nia Jax stole a belt from a fan and gave it to Tiffany?
Yes, actually.
That was pretty funny.
Was it an actual? It'd be funny if it was somebody like custom belt.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the girl was kind of hot. She was right on the corner. They showed her on NXT.
Sometimes you gotta be kind of hot.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. I'm not even sure what show it was where she stole it from, but they showed her on NXT. So I was like, what? They didn't show what show she actually stole the belt on. But yeah. So it was kind of weird. But she's like, "What's my Tiffy title?" Like that was funny.
Tiffy title's cute.
Yeah. Definitely.
Shout out to Prior Lake's own. But yeah, what was what else was happening in because my whole thing with Crown Jewel, right? I phase it out. I pay no mind because it's literally filler. It's 100% filler. Like it.
Yeah.
Gunther losing did nothing because it had nothing to do with his stories. The thing is, though, the weird thing is that Cody's had everything to do with his.
Right. Yeah. It continues to cement that he's the guy.
But it's also like really messed up because no matter what, he's always going to be the one taking the win.
Yeah.
Like he's not. Yeah. He's become the anti like.
Well, it was
when
very.
John Cena was giving people chances, right? And like he's making it so nobody is legitimate enough to face him,
right?
Because he just beat the only other best wrestler.
Right. It was strange because the end of it, like Liv and Cody hugged and celebrated together. Like she came out after his win and
the heel came out with the face.
Yeah. shook his hand, and then they hugged, and she told him you deserved it, and they clearly had the camera on her so you could see her saying that. And then, like I said, they celebrated together, and now she's sort of feuding with Nia Jax and Tiffany. So I'm wondering where that positions her.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the
odd.
thing. Remember what I said is that it's like it's not kayfabe, it's filler.
Yeah.
So nothing that happens in Saudi Arabia, we're all supposed to just forget it.
Right.
We're all
Sure.
supposed to forget that nobody's like, it's like it's the whole NXT thing where it's like, oh,
yeah,
if you don't look at it, it doesn't exist.
Right. So I thought that the women's tag match was really good. I thought that I would have liked it better if Damage Control had pulled out the win, but it was still a lot of fun. Like there was those NXT girls, man. I mean, there's talk that they're going to bring them up, but I feel like there's just something off about their matches. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I just feel like there's
slow.
But yeah, well, and I mean the thing is, one of them went to body slam Chelsea Green and positioned her wrong. And Chelsea Green literally had to save herself. Like she turned herself in the air so she wouldn't land directly on her head.
Lots of green moments.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Io Sky slipped on the top rope and turned it into this freaking amazing pinball, like very cool thing. So, and honestly, that's the kind of stuff that I love about wrestling. I don't necessarily like it when it's super smooth. So watching Chelsea Green save herself was cool to me, but it's like, God damn it, quit doing that stuff, And then Io Sky making like this really cool correction and turning it into this really cool, like pinball all the way around the ring. And that was cool. So there was,
I also think that's just stuff that people like us would see and take account for, and like maybe the average person who's watching, not saying that we aren't average, but obviously we've talked to like we've been in the business, so like
yeah, I'm sure that most people wouldn't notice that Chelsea Green had to turn herself on that body slam so she didn't break her neck. You know what I mean? But she
Lord knows it does
to.
show that if I'm being honest, because of the optics, like I mentioned before, the reason why Jakara and Lash are even facing. And they did rumor that metaphor. Yeah. They did rumor that the whole metaphor is going up to the WWE, which is insanity to me, considering that they went down, or Noam Dar went down and came up before we ever got Trick.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we even got Roxanne.
Right.
Like immediately putting them, but it's because you have the greenest thing on God's green earth in Jade Cargill. And you need people to face her like Piper Niven. You need people to face her like Chelsea Green.
Yep.
But then you face Io Sky, and then it's like Lord Steven Regal against Goldberg all over again.
Yeah. I'm still pretty upset about the way that Io Sky got handled in that match.
I thought you were going to say, I'm still upset about Steven Regal getting fired. I was like, still?
It wasn't his fault. Oh, man. Arn Anderson actually came out and said that he was the agent for that match. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, my God.
That happened this week, too. So
that happened this week?
Yeah. Arn Anderson finally admitted no one knew who the agent was because no one wanted to throw him under the bus because it was kind of their fault. Arn Anderson finally
those two together, yeah?
Yeah. Well, Arn Anderson finally said that he was the agent and he was like, it happened exactly the way that Regal said it happened.
Was it just Oli bet him to do the stupidest thing you could possibly do? It's like Oli's like, I bet you won't.
Yeah, I bet you won't. Go do it.
I bet I will.
Like, watch me.
Your mom went to college. We have the same mom. I know. That's how I know.
That's how I know. So yeah. But yeah, the match for the US title was fine. Like the only match that really stood out to me on the whole card was the women's 4-way, and that's just
the
because
Bloodline match.
Well, the Bloodline match had some shocking stuff. Roman taking a pinfall was interesting
from Solo.
From Solo, yeah. That was crazy.
That's one of the more telling moments. Is that
right? And the miscommunications. I just felt like that match was kind of short. Like I felt like they didn't give it enough time,
considering how important it was to the overall storyline. At least, because that was a pay-per-view match. Like
Right.
that's what they're basing war games after, pretty much.
Right. And
You
it
know, they're
seemed
gonna
like
do that whole thing.
everything just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like there
Hmm.
wasn't, they didn't give that match enough time to breathe. And they did so much. Like,
You know what that reminds me of though? That reminds me of when Jay and Jimmy opened WrestleMania.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Where
Absolutely. And that
they
match did not get enough time either.
and
So,
it's highly seen as the low part of that WrestleMania.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I could see that.
100%. I was like,
But yeah, they did so many things. Like they teased a breakup. Roman
mhm,
got pinned. They teased a breakup. Sammy came out.
yeah.
They reunited
Mm.
all in the course of 15 minutes or so. So it was kind of, but
Sammy Uso is that guy. You know, we
yeah,
are mentioning SmackDown now, but see, yeah, Sammy Uso being brought back, and that long-term booking.
yeah,
I don't even know if it was meant to always be that, or Sammy just became too lovable to not use anymore.
right.
But like, yeah, him being a part of that bloodline is one of the funniest. Obviously, the Usi thing was great, but just not even just that. Like
I don't know if
how
you're,
the
oh, go
what
ahead.
was it, the I was gonna say the camaraderie they had, like how they had
Yeah,
these segments where Sammy's like doing their handshakes and stuff like that. Like he
right.
went into it, man, and he did such a good job. I was kind of upset when they broke him up when they did.
Yeah. I don't know if you were involved in independent wrestling on any level when the Sami Zayn thing was going on, but everyone on the indies started calling each other Oos.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
so funny because the whole thing is like, don't be a mark, you're part of the business. But they always do stuff like that.
Sammy
Like,
Uso, yeah.
yeah, I remember freaking posting on Facebook. I was like, are we all freaking Usos now? Like, what is
We
going
are.
on? And then
You
someone
know
was
what's
like, "Oh, that statement's not very Usi of you." And then I realized that it was a gimmick, but it was funny because I got called Oos by a black wrestler, and then
as you
proceeded to
should,
hear
King,
him call multiple people in the locker room Oos, and I was like, "Oh, so this must be a thing now." So everybody's Oos,
because
Hey,
you're a strong black king, just like me,
hey
Keith.
now, indeed, it
And
used to
now
be
you're
brother, and
also.
then it became Oos.
It's
So
funny because Washington, we always got to go back to the 7-2 Commanders, but
yeah,
Frankie Louvu is an Oos. He's a Samoan, and he's pretty much the Jacob Fatu of our team. He's just a
nice,
monster.
nice,
He's real good, but he goes by
nice.
Oos also, which is
That's
cool.
that's awesome. Yeah.
But I think, yeah,
So
I do like that they're hearkening back to the whole Sammy Uso thing, and that they've been all of these has pretty much been coming full circle, where they're leading
right.
to hopefully leading to Rock Cena again, hopefully leading to, you know, Jacob. I know we don't usually listen to Russo, but he was right
Yeah.
about Jacob and Braun Breaker needs to happen immediately.
Right. Sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's funny to say, but I don't know if the Intercontinental Championship is enough for him. Maybe he'll just give it to Solo.
Right. Maybe.
Maybe he'll just be like, he'll just go straight caveman and be like, "Me get you title.
Me
You
get
wa-
you
you
title.
want because that's what he
Yeah.
kind of sees like. You want title, me get title.
Me get title. Yeah.
Yum.
Show his gold teeth.
I'm just waiting. Like they're making him such an indestructible force that I'm
Right.
surprised he hasn't won the tag team titles back by himself.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Like just one
Just to
on
go
two.
beat
He's like
up the
just
machine guns. You're like, we need
yeah. It's
these.
like oh
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah.
Oh nice
I
title
think
reign. It'd be a shame if I ruined it.
right. One of the cool things about wrestling now that wasn't something that happened in the past is
Booties.
this kind of storytelling. You know what I mean? Because it used to be you moved on from your next, like when a new storyline started, your
Mhm.
storyline prior to that didn't even matter.
Yeah, it didn't even
Whereas
know
now
it
they,
didn't even exist. Not even that it didn't
yeah,
matter. It's not
didn't
supposed. You're not
exist.
supposed to remember.
Yeah, yeah, and now they integrate it all. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, with
everyone
the
had the
Bo
past.
Dallas,
Like
the
it's
Bo Dallas Miz, where he
right.
talked about being in the Miztourage, and now he's
Yeah, it's
like, doing the whole Ghost Rider thing, where he's like, "Look at your sins,
right. It's perfect.
stare at me until your
Spirit
soul
of
is
vengeance,
gone."
baby. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's beautiful, man. I love that. That's what we do now. because it was always weird to me as a kid, you know, how like someone could just turn good, turn bad, no explanation, and no one remembered the stuff that happened before, you know, like I just, I like that they don't do that anymore. So,
Well, it's
but
because
I'm
it's like pulling
wondering,
the wool over our eyes. It's being like, oh, surprise! Like, oh, I think we can admit that, you know, there is some continuity. You know, like,
yeah, absolutely. I'm a comic book guy, so like continuity is very important to me.
oh, don't get me started on comics. We could have a real long
Yeah,
real long discussion about what the heck they're going to be doing soon.
right.
Secret Wars, baby. Secret Wars.
Dude, I haven't read new comics since about 2014, other than Indie Creator Comics. So
All you got to know is the 2004's version of Secret Wars is going to be the one they're going with.
nice.
So not
I'll
the
have to check it.
19
Yeah,
what was it,
1980s
the
one,
80s, yeah,
which was the superior one, but you know,
with Emperor Doom.
yeah, yeah.
They're going with because I already knew as soon as I seen that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Doctor Doom. I was like, okay, I know exactly where they're going with this.
Right. So it's going to be
The world where Iron Man became Doctor Strange,
and the scrolls and all that stuff, like the.
Well,
Yeah,
they already
they've
talked
been
about
building that in
Null,
the movies anyway. Yeah, so
but they're bringing in Null, the first symbiote. So
gotcha.
and apparently, I think I saw a poster of who's it's supposed to be, but it might be speculation. I don't want to bring it up.
Right. All right. So, should we close out our wrestling podcast with comic book talk? Get on out of here.
Goodness.
I think we pretty much covered everything. So,
I would say for the most part, and there isn't really much coming up in the near future as
yeah,
far
NXT
as...
has a pay-per-view coming soon that looks like it's going to be. I'm guessing that it's going to be one of those point system type things like WCW did a few years back, or NWA actually. So it was a while back. It was like in the early 80s, where like the best wrestlers from each division are going to face each other, and then you're going to get points based on how many matches you win. I'm thinking that's
like
what
the
it's going to be.
climax, like the G1 climax.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
where there's blocks, like you'll be in A block, B block, and then you'll
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be something along those lines.
Didn't they kind of do that with the Cruiserweight Classic? Or they was
I
kind of
didn't see the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm not sure because I didn't see the Cruiserweight Classic, but it seems like that's what it's going to be. I think it's called Discipline or something like that. Don't quote me on that because they just started talking about it this week. So
okay, well, I'll look into it if that is the case. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say we've talked our faces off about enough.
We hit everything. So
I will say that, you know, if you like us talking about wrestling, you know, follow us, check us out, Roundtable Wrestling. We are on here every Friday around this time of day.
Yes, sir.
We love bringing you the news. Obviously, we rant and ramble about everything, but you know, that just shows that we have passion for what we do, and we're quite obviously a part of the community. So I'd say it's an important thing, community.
Indeed. Yeah, make sure that you guys check us out on Spotify as well. Just do a search for Roundtable Wrestling. We're on there. We want to thank Kish Radio. Thanks to Brent, who had to roll out and save the world from asbestos.
Thanks to Jay Sizzle.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for
everybody that was watching, and most importantly as well, I know we talk a lot about the big ones, the big companies, but support indie wrestling.
Indeed, yeah. And thanks to Tyler Martin, who is the guy who gets us on Spotify. He's the one who takes care of that kind of stuff. So, and he may have his work cut out for him this week, which I'll talk about later, not on the show. All right, everybody. But
all y'all, and
have a great week. We'll see you next week. Yeah.